Thank you, Senator Smith. Senator Lyons.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I rise today to take note of answers given by Senator Nash in relation to health. And before I do that, I'm just absolutely astounded by the responses we've heard from government today, and we are not seeing any commitment to Australians doing it tough. We're not seeing any commitment to ordinary everyday families. All we are hearing about is this myth that everything has to be slashed and burned, and the only group in our society that's going to get any benefit is the big end of town, the business end of town. And again, Senator Nash today, in answer to questions around GP co-payments, around bulk billing of GPs and so on, just went on the government's key theme of secrecy. It's all a secret. We all have to wait until sometime in the future when the government gets around to telling Australians, particularly Western Australian voters, just what it has in store for them. Well, things are tough in Western Australia. They're tough for ordinary Australians, and all we've seen from Senator Nash and indeed the Abbott government is we're going to make it tougher for you. So this refusal to give a response to a simple question of is the government considering a co-payment today to Senator Nash, first of all she misunderstands a very clear question, and then we just get weasel words. We get a waffly response, and again she tells us nothing. And then not only that, one of the things this government is really good at doing is not taking responsibility. It likes to blame anyone. It blames unions, it blames workers, it blames the former Labor government, and then it can't make its own decisions. It puts things out to a commission of audit which has been sitting with the government for 4 weeks, of which it's remaining totally secret. But things are leaking out. Peter Dutton, the Minister for Health, said on the 7:30 report in February that he wanted to have a frank and fearless discussion about the future of our health system. Well, where's that frank and fearless discussion taking place? In some secret 3-person cloakroom? Because it's sure not out there. It is sure not out there. So yes, perhaps it is taking place in a telephone box, but it apparently doesn't include Senator Nash, because she tells us nothing's on the table, yet we have the Health Minister himself telling us there's going to be this frank and fearless discussion. Well, time's running out, because the budget's due in May, under 12 weeks away. We're told there's a plan. We're told there's frank and fearless discussion. When is that going to happen? When will voters in my state of Western Australia get to hear about what's in store for them? What is in store for West Australian families when they go to a doctor? How much more are the Abbott government going to force them to pay? And again we see this emerging theme where don't let facts or science or academic research get in the way of ideology, because the AMA, usually the friend of the Abbott government, is totally opposed to any kind of GP co-payment, and indeed questions what it is actually going to be put in place to fix. And it goes further, and it says there's no proof of over-servicing, something we even heard Senator Smith go on about today. No proof of over-servicing, no proof that a co-payment is going to do anything at all, and further than that, the AMA says it will push people back to hospitals, and yet the government won't confirm what will happen in our hospitals. Indeed, people have talked about a co-payment there if you front up to an emergency department. So it is time now that this government came clear on its plan. We were told today, that's the only thing we heard today from Senator Nash, is there's some plan. It must be a secret plan. Well, it is time to put the plan out there. The Abbott government, prior to September, was very clear about its agenda. Ever since then, we've seen a secret agenda, and it is a big secret in Western Australia. And Western Australians have a right to ask and have a right to know if they are going to be having to stump up a co-payment that will add to the cost of families already suffering massively high electricity bills under the mismanagement of Colin Barnett. And indeed, as Senator Sterle says, the Prime Minister wants to model himself on the Premier Barnett. Well, the only thing they've got in common at the moment is they both seem to have lost their treasurers. But it is time, clearly, for the government to come clear, to tell the people of Western Australia what's in store for them before the Senate election. Thank you, Mr Acting
Thank
President.
you, Senator Lyons. I'll put the motion moved by Senator Moore. That is, those of that opinion say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Senator Hanson.